So thank you everyone for joining us. Excited to make some introductions and also have Alex and team share about what they're working on and how that could be of value to others that are on this call. So so the quick intro, we all go around, say our names, where we're dialing in from, and maybe one thing you're grateful for today.
Well, also if they can introduce, okay, go ahead.
Yeah, and introduce what?
Well, introduce like what area investment you're involved with.
Sure.
And what particularly you're working on and would like to receive support possibly now too. So
that would be a lot. So let's do name where you're dialing in from, one thing you're grateful for today, and kind of a brief like couple words background on what you're investing in.
Right.
Okay. Payam dialing in from LA. I am grateful for my mother. I'm going on a trip to Italy with her for 10 days. And I'm investing in co-creating a thriving, abundant, regenerative future for humanity. And I'll name names. Andrew.
Okay, so I'm Andrew Pignanelli. I'm calling in from Salt Lake City, and I'm grateful for the beautiful weather today. It's like perfect. I don't necessarily invest myself, but Velvet is working on products to make the lives of VCs and investors and private companies easier. And we're doing that with AI. So we'll tell you more about that in a minute, though.
Sounds great. Alessio.
Hello, everyone. I'm dealing from Lisbon, and I'm really grateful for the amazing people that I met in Germany a few days ago. So I'm still connecting with them. Brave Space, which is an organization of investors and entrepreneurs. And other than that, we are investing in early stage startups in the area of Web3, mostly in DeFi.
Awesome. Jason.
Hey everybody, Jason Kingdon here, dialing in from New York. I am grateful for my health, both mental and physical, although both are an active thing that I have to work on. Things that I'm invested in or interested in investing in are China Macro, so Chinese publicly traded equities, high beta internet names, California carbon credits, and a smart way to play the Bitcoin halving. So a bit disparate, but all somehow related.
Awesome. Thanks, Jason. Justin Hughes.
Hey, everybody. Sorry. Little congested today. Anyway, my name is Justin Hughes. I'm dialing in from Los Angeles, Venice specifically. And I too am grateful for the weather. And not only I'd like to be grateful for my health, but I think I may have had a little too much fun this weekend and paying the price. But yeah, what I'm investing in, investing my time in a real estate investing startup. But I do find myself more and more interested and drawn to what Payam had spoken about. And then also, Jason, you mentioned carbon credits. That's another thing that's kind of come up for me in the recent weeks that I've been kind of putting my educational hat on, trying to learn as much as I can.
Awesome. Thanks, Justin. John, call back.
Hey, everybody. From Venice, California as well. Happy to be here. Grateful for, I'm in this kind of strange bridge period in my life right now. So lots of different things coming at me, which feels really good and uncertain, but trying to lean into the trust of it. Invest in mainly growth equity, fundless sponsor model. So on behalf of mostly family office type wealth that my partner and I are connected to in media, CPG, and tech. We're raising $10 million now to a Caribbean rum company where we'll connect celebrity into that on the tailwinds of rum. It's one of the oldest rum brands in the world. So very excited about that. If anybody's interested, happy to chat. Thanks, man.
Thanks, John. Dwani. You're on mute.
Let me unmute. Hi, everyone. I'm Dwani calling in from New York. I'm grateful for my parents who have left California for a little while they take care of me here in New York. I've had some health issues. So I'm grateful they're here and braving this awful weather we've been having. And I am looking for early stage seed and pre-seed investments for my alumni group, my business angels. Really sector agnostic, but US focused, but big interest in SaaS, in healthcare, and in consumer. So, and Web3. So nice meeting everyone.
Awesome. Thanks, Dwani. Mario.
Hi, yes. My name is Mario Casiraghi. I'm dialing in from Sicily right now, so southern Italy. I'm grateful for the people around me and my wife. I've been investing in amazing people first recently, and I'm active in Web3, so early stage Web3 agnostic, focused DeFi gaming infrastructure, and yeah, been accumulating high quality coins on the secondary market.
Awesome. Thanks, Mario. Sandeep, did you get the prompts, brother?
I think I did, yeah. So Sandeep calling in from Oakland, California. What I'm grateful for today, I'm grateful for my partner, Ella, and also grateful for a conversation that I had with the University of Barcelona this morning for bringing yogic teachings and practices as part of their conscious business education syllabus for the business schools. So I'm really excited about that. And what I'm investing in is really conscious leadership and conscious leaders. And whether it's in the business world, primarily obviously in the business world, my background is in public equities, so that's a focus. But most imminent for me is working with what I believe is going to be the next blue bottle of conscious coffee. And we'll be raising funds for them potentially soon. So if anyone has experience in that world and or would like to chat, otherwise I'm here and would appreciate and welcome all of that. Thank you.
Thanks, Sandeep. Ahmad, brother.
Hi, team. Ahmad, I'm dialing from Los Angeles. I'm very grateful today for my family and friends and the great weather. It's easy to take it for granted in LA. And I invest out of a fund called Preface Ventures. We invest at second-time founders, usually B2B, SaaS, enterprise security, and such. On the side as well, or I guess my full-time is I run an entertainment and technology startup, so heavily involved in hospitality and entertainment projects in the US and abroad.
Awesome. Thanks, brother. Dottie, good to see you, brother, from Indonesia.
Hi, everyone. Yeah, my name is Dodi. I'm grateful that I'm still awake at this hour to meet all of you. So I've been investing in early and growth stage technology company, mostly focusing in Southeast Asia. Look forward to share experience with all of you. So we probably could expand to invest and exchanging knowledge for other regions as well.
Thanks, Dottie. Tiffany.
Hi, I'm Tiffany Joy Bassi, and I'm grateful for my friend Connie. We are going on a magic mystery tour of Shasta for 4 days on Sunday, Mount Shasta. So I'm looking forward to that. I'm currently involved in building economic development projects in Kansas. We're talking about smart hotels, organic farming with AI to increase crop load, entertainment, and other kinds of projects. So I happen to be an AI expert, but always happy to align with people who understand that space when it comes to hotel, entertainment, farming, that kind of thing. Thank you.
Cool. Gil, calling from a taxi.
Yeah, in an Uber. I'm in New York currently. Thanks, Payam. Something I'm grateful for my wife, who's been wonderfully supportive by my side as I do more than I chew off more than I can chew, as I often do. I run Stanford Blockchain Accelerator and have a blockchain fund that I'm raising for as well right now.
Awesome. Greg.
Hey everyone, I'm Greg. I'm calling in from Marina del Rey, and I'm grateful for the community on the West Side in LA. We have so many open-minded people and amazing events and gatherings. I run my family office, so I'm investing in a lot of real estate, public equities, private equity, and at the moment, I'm looking for an early stage fund that has a lot of AI in it, or an AI specific seed stage fund.
Thanks, Greg. Angel.
Hi, I am in the Bay Area and I am an angel investor. I focus on seed stage in the US, UK, and Latin America, all places where I've been an entrepreneur and had exits and where I've been investing for about 16 years. I invest in startups from enterprise to consumer that make the world healthier and happier. I look for inclusive teams, and healthier and happier for me means I can add more value than just the check. That ranges from mental health through to entertainment. And I am raising right now for a new molecule for psychedelic assisted therapy, and raising for an impact business entering the US market, which is physical space and digital community. And on the fundraising and M&A side, I focus on enterprise through to consumer, healthcare and entertainment and beyond, 10 million ARR and above.
Awesome. Alex Johnson.
Hey everybody, Alex Johnson calling in from Salt Lake City, Utah today. Grateful to be surrounded by so many people building new things and moving the world and influencing what comes next. That's my favorite part about this job. And yeah, I work on a couple of things. I do a little bit of angel investing myself, mainly into AI, blockchain stuff so far, a coconut company here and there. I also run Velvet alongside Andrew, which is an AI-backed fintech company, backed by Outlander VC, Winklevoss Capital, 10X Capital, and Alumni Ventures. Yeah, we can dive deeper into that whenever. And yeah, that's a little bit about me.
Thanks, brother.
I think I forgot to say what I was grateful for. Probably the most important part of the introduction. Sorry, I'm grateful for my son, Bronco.
Yeah. Ruby, do you want to say anything?
Yeah. So, I'm really actually grateful for AI, that our technology has come to AI now, since that's going to be one of our topic of conversation today. And the reason I'm so grateful for AI is that I really think it's going to equalize the economic field for the underserved and developing nation people, And like one of the things I'm just grateful in this moment, I've been a volunteer mentor for US State Department program called Tech Women for 8 years. It's these top STEM women from Africa, MENA, and Central Asia. And they just arrived this week. And I can see now how AI is going to be able to transform and open up opportunities that they've never, ever had before because of the political situation and social system in their country. So I'm just so excited about AI that, beyond Web3, beyond blockchain, I think AI is what's really going to equalize the playing field. So that's why I'm really grateful for that. So anyways, go ahead, Paya.
Yeah, so before we go into like the next phase where Alex and Andrew are gonna talk a little bit more about their platform and how that can help facilitate introductions, I'll just give a quick 1-minute background on LightDAO for those that are still not familiar, or you're joining us kind of on one of these experiences for the first time. Light DAO represents a global community of conscious entrepreneurs and investors, really, targeting founders and investors that are leading and investing in future of humanity and in co-creating abundance for the world. And that word conscious to us means individuals that are heart-led, aligned in their values, care about their environment and their surroundings and their own journey of growth, and do business as a force for good to make an impact where purpose meets passion, generates profit. And that profit piece is when we, with intention, deliver value and create value from a product or service that we're creating, and put that forth where that value is being created and seen, that will generate the profit or the fulfillment or the happiness. So that's kind of the motto that we emanate, and we're looking to expand and help and support our founders and our investors to be more in tune with how they are thinking through their investment and building and creating philosophies. End of the day, we're here to support one another. We all feel the ups and downs and the lefts and rights of life, both business and personal. And we want to do life and do not just, again, the business and the personal, but people that we're aligned with in values that we know are good-hearted people that care about the world, themselves, in short, not assholes. So that's kind of our intention, is to bring like-minded individuals together, and through that'll organically help develop kind of all the business and personal and fun that we want to have in life. So without further ado, I'll pass it off to Ruby back, and maybe she can make a quick intro before we continue.
Yeah. Well, one thing I'd like to add, because this is a question everybody asks, is, Pi mentioned we've been growing really fast. We're about 300, 400 members now around the world. And out of those 300, 400 members, about 70 are investors, ranging from VCs and family offices to, so our investor network are all active investors. That's one thing we request. And we actually have a private space in our portal for you. Okay. So the other thing that we've been really expanding very fast, and Piam's been, traveling all around for that, is that, we've been having our local events in LA, and I think we've had maybe 4 or 5 now, Piam, at this point. And
LA, we've been doing it monthly since February, and in
yeah,
we've had 1 now, and in New York we've had 2.
Yeah, so and there's many more coming up in New York, and we had our first one in San Francisco. We're going to be having more of them in San Francisco, and Piam's going to be going to Dubai, and there's been interest from other cities. So if you know people who really are community oriented and would like to bring this whole Light DAO energy and message to other places like Miami or other, that would be really great. And Jason, thank you so much for being one of our key people in New York and generously helping and supporting the events there.
Anytime.
Yes. And those of you who are here in LA, thank you so much for coming to our events and supporting them, because it's really us. That's who Light DAO is. It's us. And the values we hold, and the difference that we want to make in the world, So I'm really delighted to be introducing you to our 2 guests. And that came up again in response to your request, because this is our 3rd private meeting for investors. And the last one, we're asking people, what would be of interest, because people were introducing each other and there's been connections made. And there's also like our portal, again, Jason, thank you so much for you've been really active posting, your requests, your opportunities and things like that. So people are saying, what else could we be learning together? Right. So that's what inspired for me to, bring Alex and also Andrew from Velvet, which, as Alex said, is a marketplace, AI marketplace for LPs and funds. All right. So it's really interesting, because when I originally met Alex at Brian Talibi's event, some of you know about that, when he told me about it sounded like somebody else said something if you were there also. When he told me about Velvet my impression, because I'm not in fintech, was, oh, there must be a lot of people doing that. You know? But then what I found out is that, you know, I'm out a lot meeting investors, meeting, funds and stuff. And I would hear a lot of these funds saying that they're raising, you know? So when I meet them, I would say, oh, well, have you checked out Velvet? And they would go, what's Velvet? You know? And when I would describe what Velvet is, they said, wow, that's really great. You know, I really want to learn more. So I realized how unique what Andrew and Alex has created. And so this is the reason why I thought to invite them. The thing I asked them to do, which they're going to start out with, which I'm very grateful for, is that, you know, AI is accelerating so fast. I'm in the AI capital of San Francisco. And every time I go out to hear some speaker, there's something amazing happening, right? And when I've talked to some investors, you know, there's been a question that's arrived, is like, well, what's happening in your field that you could be leveraging? What are the latest tools in AI that could help you as an investor and can help you as a fund? All right. So that's what I asked Alex and Andrew to speak about first, is just give the latest, because you can imagine, given what they do, and, you know, they really have their fingers in the fintech world, for them to share with us what's going on, you know, what their experiences, what they're seeing in the market, they're seeing some of the innovative investors do. So that's what I'm going to ask them to speak first. And then before they complete, you know, they'll also introduce, how you could work with them, you know, as an LP or as a fund. All right. So again, no further ado, Alex and Andrew, if you'd like to begin with your great insights about what's happening with AI for investors and for VCs.
Thanks, Ruby. Appreciate the introduction. And yeah, we've been getting beat by the learning stick in fintech and AI. We've been knee deep in that for the last 3 years. And a lot of what we've been working on over the last year is actually an AI product specialized for GPs and LPs. So I'll give you a little context on our backgrounds and kind of how we got here. So Velvet, as it stands over the last 3 years, Andrew and I met in college, like many founders do. We became best buddies mainly because of shared backgrounds in trading. We're both big public markets trading guys, big nerds about markets, big nerds in general. And he was the only other smart guy I met in college in my day traders club. And he had killed it before I met him. He built this t-shirt e-commerce company, and he was flipping all these stock options, trading all kinds of things. I got into crypto very early in 2014. I ended up spinning up a quant fund out in college about 4 years ago that's still running today. I've done about 11x on that fund. And that's kind of my foray into private markets. Andrew pitched me this idea of a place where guys like me who are making triple-digit returns could, you know, connect with real investors on Wall Street. And that evolved into the Velvet Marketplace, Ruby. And that's, you know, we met about a year ago when we were really expanding that Velvet Marketplace. Since then, Andrew and I became the youngest owners of a broker-dealer in history. We have the financial license to kill, essentially. And what we built around that was this data platform for LPs and GPs to connect. We discovered GPs would give us their data to market online, and we built an angel list for institutionally ready managers. On the other side, we'd give all this for free to the LPs, specifically family offices, multifamily offices, and institutional investors such as like endowments and pension funds, to increase their sourcing abilities on the marketplace. We've vetted 550 fund managers. So if you guys, we have been knee deep understanding the way venture capital and private equity funds invest and work, and vetting those and then curating the top 20% of them. So of those 500, we've listed 110. That's on the marketplace. More recently, mostly because of market dynamics, we've slowed down fund listings a lot. We haven't been accepting new applications for new fund managers to raise for the last 3 months. We plan to probably continue that in the future, but right now we're just marketing the LP side of the platform. At the same time, we're going to market with a new product, and that is Velvet AI. It's a daily use tool that is really two distinct tools. It's a digital analyst and a portfolio management solution, mainly for private investors. It's focused on private data. So that's just a little bit about our background, so you know where we came from. what we're up to. We're always very collaborative with people in the space. We throw a lot of events. We love helping people connect and using our network to help those around us. So, and that's a lot of the force that I lead. And then I'll let Andrew go from there on his story.
Yeah, like Alex gave a pretty good overview. I will be talking a lot about AI in the next couple of minutes here. We've actually been in the trenches with AI, working with generative AI, with language models, embedding models, vision models, all sorts of things that didn't even exist like 2 years ago in a way that people could use them. And so I think I have a particular insight into how this works for private markets, and because we've been building them, and we've been building very quickly on this. And so I'll start with sort of how I've seen AI progress over the last year for private markets. So the real excitement for me happened when I initially met Sam Altman back in November, and he said, "Look, there's this crazy thing we're going to do. It's called ChatGPT. It's going to blow everyone's minds." And how we initially started using it was to analyze legal documents for funds and figure out like the terms from those funds. Take, for example, management fees is a very simple one. What is the management fee of this fund? It's actually hidden on like page 60 of a document, like an LPA, that you have to read all the way through to be able to get that ground truth information. And so the very initial thing that we started building with was, how do we extract information from very complex documents, and how do we make it easy for people to understand? And this was happening around the same time as ChatGPT was getting big, and people were doing the opposite, where they'll take a simple thing and they'll expand it out with the generation. Those two operations, which is expanding things out and then condensing things down, are what has impacted at least private markets the most. You combine that with search, and all of a sudden you have this sort of second brain that you can access, or like a database for someone who's non-technical. Another trend that I've noticed a lot of is the ability for non-technical people, many investors of which I would consider non-technical, to go in and do things and analyze very complex systems by just using these new AI tools. Code Interpreter came out a couple months ago, which allowed VCs and just anyone in tech to analyze very complex data with just natural language. We actually built a tool that was similar to this, where you could just take natural language and you could generate a chart. And all of these things combined together create this trend of being able to understand very complex problems and things that used to only be available to data scientists and coders, but now can be very easily accessed by just someone who knows English. So that's another trend that we've noticed. And then the final trend that I've noticed more recently is actually people using this for fully verticalized applications. So this is something that goes into an entire day-to-day of someone in finance. So like an insurance salesperson, for example, they'll have to worry about claims. They'll have to worry about what a person's profile looks like, all of these different things. All of that gets pushed into one system, and we use AI to just make it very simple to actually access that and actually process that information. Another example is like a CRM can pull all of the information out of your emails, actually read the documents, actually read the meeting transcripts, and then put that in and structure the data in the way that you need it to. So more recently, a lot of vertical applications we've started seeing. I'll let Alex say a little bit now.
Yeah, I mean, one of the main fascinations I've had around AI is the just overall productivity increase across industry. So you look at like Microsoft's Copilot, all of our developers have been using that since it came out, and the rate at which they can commit is almost 50% higher. So you can monitor the before and after productivity increase. And you imagine entire, slews of developers over all software companies now building outputs more quickly and committing code more quickly, and how that transforms every industry. So I think that's a really fascinating concept. And that gets into that idea of verticalized applications, right? Building productivity tools within specific industries. A lot of people talk about like the legal industry, like how long are, paralegals going to last once I've built a digital paralegal. And I think the most common trend you're going to see, especially, I mean, I see this in a lot of venture capital firms now, their new strategies to go after this next layer of enterprise applications that gets built on top of the established language models. Because now we have this sort of consolidated, fragmented market of a few key language models, some more specialized, some more general. So you have ChatGPT, you have Anthropic. We use both of those. We use them for different solutions. You have Cohere that's come out. And then there'll be an entire layer of companies and enterprise tools that are being built upon these base layer technologies. And I see those as being the ones that are replacing daily workflows mainly. So systems to, if you want to apply it to private markets, systems to automate the due diligence process. You'll have entire teams at a firm like Point72, just reading documents, just putting information in tables. When I say entire teams, I mean 10 people that they're paying about $1 million a year just to input data and read documents. You know, same with portfolio management. I think, you know, data aggregation is a really interesting thing. So we focused on the idea of, can you capture the information that exists within private markets and standardize it and instantly put that online in a digital platform? So the core concept for our product was, can you read a data room the way a human does? Because data rooms take hours to read. Every investor is looking at them. Can you read a pitch deck the way a human does? Can you take out all the key points, the traction, the founders? And the reality of private markets is they operate on really two main inputs, which is the documents and emails, and then your WhatsApp messages. And they're so disconnected because of three main reasons. One, they're hard to access. That's why we have all these group chats and these webinars and these cocktail parties. Two, they're very opaque. Nobody really knows what's going on in them. You know, we talk, we build communities around it. Understanding what's going on means centralizing and creating sources of information and truth. And those two things are really in the documents and emails. And then finally, there's a trust problem in private markets. Because nobody knows really what's going on across the broader market, people operate in these fragmented groups of trust. So you have these family office clubs, you have venture capital clubs, and a lot of things are prone to bias and selection and referrals. And those are the three main problems we've been trying to solve to make private markets more like public markets over time. So I think AI, as applied to that, is a really interesting solution because it increases efficiency of being able to digest and gather information, like what Andrew was talking about earlier.
Yeah. Oh, go ahead. Sorry. Your question?
No, go ahead. No, go ahead, Andrew.
I was going to say, to go off of Alex's enterprise comment, one of the trends that's been happening more recently is actually enterprise adoption. So the first half of the year, enterprises were terrified to get into AI because mainly they saw these tweets that came out in December and January about people injecting the prompts and getting information out of the AI that they might not have been supposed to see. But what's happened since then is this development of containerizing the data and making it so that only the right people have access, and there's authentication methods and there's methods against hallucination now that just did not exist 6 months ago. And that's leading to enterprises being able to actually adopt this and say, okay, this is something we need. ChatGPT Enterprise came out a couple of weeks ago that just blew up, and you're starting to see a lot of financial firms actually adopt this. Different players are also going after their own enterprise AI, like Bloomberg, for example, is training their own. They're things like in Stripe, they're adding search across all of their documentation. From my experience and from the people I've interacted with in enterprise, it's hard to get their larger financial enterprises to adopt the AI because they're still a little bit terrified. But you're starting to see the wave move upwards into larger organizations. Like if you see an organization that does use ChatGPT versus one that doesn't, or ones that start integrating like language models into their processes, they're going to be moving 2-3 times faster than the ones that are sitting behind. And even the old ones, even the boomers are realizing this. They're starting to see, okay, this is the trend. This is the thing that we need to follow on. The simplest way to see this is in chatbots. Like even banks, like there was news about Wells Fargo implementing a chatbot for their support for their bank, like an AI ChatGPT type chatbot. And this is just something that like 6 months ago, these guys would never have been players in this space. They wouldn't have wanted to come in. So we're seeing that, and we're actually having pretty productive conversations with organizations like this.
Yeah, I'll bring up another case example of people investing in the enterprise AI ecosystem. Ashton Kutcher's new firm, or not new, but his new fund, Sound Ventures 4, is specifically focused on funding all the enterprise applications that are springing out of these generative models. And, you know, I think that's like a $300 million fund that they're just about closed with. We've been working pretty closely with them for the last little bit and got to get a lot of cool insight into how they're investing, what they're interested in, and how they're formulating this thesis around this new world. And then lastly, I think the most fascinating thing is we've essentially replicated the human's ability to learn. Not entirely, but in a synthetic way that begins to evolve. And it's almost hard to imagine how much that translates across all industries. If you can create learning within any system, then those systems can evolve more quickly. And nothing applies more than that than to business, I would say.
Yeah. Okay. You know, one of the things that, Alex, you mentioned to me that I think is interesting is that, you know, you've been out there talking to a lot of family offices and big investors who are getting into AI, you know. So I think a lot of our investors, big and, you know, the angel investors, what do you think has really helped those people to be on the cutting edge where they've been, you know, looking at your kind of tools? Like, what would you comment, and what is their insight so far that you're hearing from them, the ones that have gotten into AI already?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of the really successful people in AI, like there's been a lot of bandwagoning really since like last year, but then there's been some very successful established investors. Like I ran into the two GPs that actually came out of Qualcomm Ventures. They founded that and then founded Microsoft M2 Ventures, and they launched a new enterprise AI fund, all for growth stage AI companies. And the way they were looking at it is they partnered with all of the local universities to understand what was coming out, like especially in the Bay Area. Like, yeah, a lot of venture capitalists will leverage knowledge sources, and they also see those as deal sources. So you see all of these kids in college building these new things. They're going to be on the most cutting edge most of the time if it's a leading institution. A lot of it is just about access, right? It's an access-driven industry. So it's being in front of the right people at the right time a lot of times. Another person we've been able to get pretty close with is this firm, AIX Ventures. It's founded by Richard Soker. And Andrew actually has a lot of background on them as well. But he essentially invented the T in ChatGPT, and has launched a new venture firm all about early stage AI investing. Really great people.
Yeah. One of the things that I've noticed is the successful firms are the ones that have the ability to bring in the people that were in the industry before. So like we're basically in you could probably call it the third wave of AI, where, you know, language models are 3, and then 2 was everything in the 2010s and all of these predictions and stuff like that. And then we don't even need to worry about phase 1, because that was so long ago. But everyone who was very successful in phase 2, they're now starting to become these industry leaders, and they're the ones that people call when they start an AI company. And having friends like that is how you get into the deals. That's like Alex was saying, Richard Socher was very well connected in the space before he started this firm, as well as like Sound Ventures, for example. I mean, they've been investing in AI for 5 years. Some of the people that have been more successful investing in the early stage of AI are the ones that are on the ground where the events happen. The access right now in AI is like finding these really early founders that have some unique insight, and they're very, very smart. And so if you want to get into those companies, you want to get into those funds, you have to be physically close to them, which is why being in San Francisco is a great place to be. Being in New York is a great place to be.
Right.
I mean,
from my experience.
Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead.
Sorry.
I was
going to say, like, another fight is just getting access to compute right now. Like it's felt like, I don't know if you guys have read a lot of the early tech stories of like Bill Joy and all the guys who were trying to get into, like Bill Gates, for example, getting access to a computer in the 60s and 70s. Like that was a super pain for them just to get into a computer room back when that was the new thing. Feels like that right now, just getting access to compute power. Like we get rate limited all the time. We've overcome a lot of those problems more recently, but it feels like sometimes we're literally waiting for the technology to catch up to what we're trying to do with it. And that does feel pretty cutting edge, which has been fun.
Yeah. So could you suggest like a resource or Medium blogger, a blogger or somebody who really is keeping up with the latest in AI tools for investors, for VCs, or I mean, can you think one off the top of your head? If you can't, that's okay. But
No,
I'm just
there's
wondering.
actually
one sec.
There's a really good report that came out not too long ago, and it doesn't get huge. It talks a little bit about AI, but it's called the Data Driven VC report.
Okay.
A lot of our product actually revolves around automating some of the processes that are outlined in this. This goes over the whole landscape of tools that venture capitalists are using, to build their own scalable firms. Yeah, CerebralValley.ai is awesome too. Andrew just dropped that in the chat.
Yeah.
I also
So
I mean,
yeah, that one is more about events that's happening in San Francisco and New York. That one.
Yeah, they have an online community as well, though. And following some of the people on Twitter is big too. I found Twitter is actually a very good space to connect with people in AI and to stay up to date. There's like a lot of the people in AI, people working at the big companies, the people that are connectors in the space, they're on Twitter and they talk about it and they talk about the new developments and stuff.
Yeah. So thank you so much for bringing, me and our community kind of quickly up to speed about some of the things that we should be paying attention to. So if you can take a few minutes, to talk about Velvet, right? You kind of did an introduction, but if you'd like to dig in a little deeper, and then, we can let them know like how they can access it in a month or two once you're ready. But if you'd like to share about what your service actually is, that'd be great.
Yeah. So I can give you an introduction to what Velvet AI does, and then I guess we can open it up to questions after that. So what Velvet AI is it's your first digital financial analyst for VC. We take all of the documents, we take all of the emails, we take all of the meeting transcripts, everything that you're looking at for these companies, and we actually do digital analysis on it in the way that a junior associate would. We found that we were able to automate 80% of the tasks that a junior associate at a VC firm would do. This is things like running a competitive analysis on a company, or pulling up the background of founders, or pulling up the investors that are invested in their company. This also goes into like second degree things like what are the risks behind investing in this company, or how are these guys attacking the market? Is their experience applicable to what they're building? All of these questions that you would be pulling up together when you're trying to evaluate a investment in a company, we can pull up in real time automatically using Velvet AI. It's being built out as a full platform so that the day-to-day of a VC investor, or just any investor in private companies, including family offices, they can automate half of their work and then spend all the time that they need to do calling founders, thinking about deals, getting connected to the right places to pull in deal flow. We've automated everything except for those types of things. And so Velvet AI is coming out in beta in about 6 to 8 weeks, depending on how quickly we move. And we've been working on it for the last 12 months. We built it with over 500 documents from over 300 funds, and we have been working very, very hard. So yeah, there's a quick overview of what we do. I don't know if you want to add anything, Alex.
Yeah, one thing I think the easiest way to imagine this product is we built it as a sort of digital analyst that you can hand inputs to. So you can hand your documents, you can forward your emails to this digital assistant. What it'll do is actually read through all of those documents and emails, summarize the key inputs. So for example, I can upload a pitch deck and it'll pull out all of the key terms within a pitch deck. It'll pull out the founders, the company, the traction, the problem that they're solving, etc. The things you'd want out of a pitch deck, and it'll put those inputs and abstract them out instantly for you. And then you can add additional information on that, like the press releases, like their websites, like as you get a data room, as you begin to dive deeper into things. You can then have this analyst that you can also ask questions to. So we built this note taker where you can say, tell me about the founders, and it'll, pull out all the key details on the founders, or tell me about the revenue model of this company. And what that does is you can actually build an investment memo in seconds rather than in hours. A lot of the people that we're bringing on and the people that we brought on so far are people with more than 10 or 20 portfolio companies, generally venture capital firms or family offices. But I think this is a useful tool for anybody analyzing private companies, period. Because all the data is stuck in all these fragmented places. This is a way to build a database into every one of your investments and then analyze it.
Yeah. So this is really great. So we're open for a couple questions. And the thing is, how can you, if you would like to explore the Velvet platform and potentially use it, what Alex has requested is that they're going to be having their new release in a few weeks, right? So what we'll be doing is that we'll be advising our investment network, and actually we're going to make this video available, Alex and Andrew, to the rest of our 70 people, right? So that when they're ready to onboard more people, we'll announce it, and then we'll do something at that time also, all right? Because you can imagine, those of you who are software, they're right now in the crunch of finalizing their product. So it's not optimal time to be bringing on new people at this point. So that's what we're going to be doing. In a month, you'll be hearing from us, both potentially coming on as an LP or as a fund or for this new AI product that they're going to use. All right. So just a comment that, I had introduced Blitzscaling Fund, Chris Ye, that's the fund that Reid Hoffman is LP in, because they wanted to be one of the early people. And their portal is so user friendly. So you guys, you really did a great job, So if you're an LP, it's a great way for you to be able to discover all these funds, just at your own time on a very, very deep level. And that's what they're all about. It's a very high end, like matchmaking, dating thing, right? So you can anonymously, if you're LP, check out all these funds before you even have to, indicate interest or reach out to them. So, any questions for them at this point?
Yeah, I've got a quick question. So I totally see the value in what you guys are doing. It sounds amazing. I'm curious, like, how you guys would think about this problem. So I've got a spreadsheet. I've gone through and manually done what your AI is, doing in seconds, and it's taken me a really long time, evaluating 15 different AI funds. A lot of these are the first fund, and so I assume that your platform would show me the data that I've captured, what's their thesis, who's their founders, what stage they are, website, stuff like that. But what insights could I gather that could help me in that decision making? I understand if it's like KKR or Sequoia or something like that has a track record, you would see the track record and you might find what their average IRRs are for each of those vintages. But with this, it's so new.
It's a great question. It's funny because we've been evaluating emerging managers for 2 years. So we're all about that entire process. The fund ones, you're working with a lot more qualitative information, the same way like an early stage investor in a seed stage company is with founders. So, one thing you could input the deck of the fund, you could input their data room. They're likely going to have a prior schedule of investments. Ideally, if I was backing a fund one, I'd hope that at least they were an angel investor before. I would ask for their angel track record, and you could have our AI summarize that for you. You could potentially build a benchmark analysis across multiple funds too. So you could analyze each fund in order and see how their prior returns compare. I would go into the GP's background and how they differentiate from sourcing, right? So a big thing in a fund one is, how is it differentiating from all the other fund ones that have just spotted up? You know, do they have a plug in Stanford who's feeding them all this? You know, what does their track record look like? Are they getting access to people? Yeah, because that's a big part of, you know, backing an earlier stage venture capitalist. I don't know if that's your specific focus of looking after a fund one, but that's one of the ways. Andrew, you can go deeper too. I didn't mean to cut you off.
Nah, no worries. Yeah, so I mean, Velvet AI is not going to help you select a better fund one than, you know, like an analyst could, right? Fund ones are still very tricky regardless of how much data you have on them. But like Alex said, you can pull a lot of the qualitative stuff out that you would have to go and find yourself. An example is something that we just did. We just did like a prototype of yesterday, was going and finding all of the investors that they've co-invested with. So even if they had a couple of angel track records or something like that, we can go, Velvet AI with one command can go and read the co-investors that are on their deck, pull up information about those co-investors, pull up those websites, and all of a sudden you can see, okay, maybe these people are more well connected than they initially seem. Or, you know, if you have no information like that, Velvet AI can pull their resume and pull their online like presence. And if they have, like, let's say 30,000 followers on Twitter, then we can pull links to tweets there, and you can look that up, or LinkedIn or something like that. Like, these are things that Velvet AI can help you do that could build a better picture for that fund.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm
we
wondering
built
if
this AI tool to address that same pain point because we've had to vet through so many funds ourselves. And sorry if it's a little confusing, by the way. I guess we should be clear, there is essentially two distinct products right now. One that's in stealth, this Velvet AI, that we plan to later integrate into the marketplace, and then the marketplace that is open right now. We're just not listing new funds currently, and that's a curated list of funds that we vetted.
Yeah.
Got
Okay,
it.
so I'm noticing the time, so I want to be sensitive to all of your schedules. Any quick question for Alex and Andrew before we see if there's any questions for Payam? Okay, great. So other questions in Payam, is there anything that you would like to add?
Well, are there any questions? Does anybody have any thoughts, comments? For Alex and Angel says she'll follow up separately.
Well,
Yeah,
I will
I've got some
anybody-
questions around.
Oh,
Sorry.
go ahead.
Yeah, I've got some questions around how to support angel groups, but I'm happy to follow up separately.
Yeah, sounds good. I want to say, look, we're super collaborative with everybody in the ecosystem. Also very happy to help in terms of connecting people to other people in the ecosystem, and big supporter of Payam and Ruby and this whole community. So happy to, again, connect at any time. I linked my LinkedIn down below, and also a link to the marketplace and also the deck of the AI. Don't share the AI thing too far. This was kind of like an exclusive look for you guys. We're not really openly marketing it for another 2 months or so. But yeah, if anybody ever wants to reach out with us, we're open to talk always, and happy to help everybody in the space. Greg, to answer your question, we just went into marketing a raise. I think we have a new lead investor sometime next week. So we will be starting to market that a little bit more heavily as well. But yeah, I'm kind of easing into it right now. Yeah, we'll share our emails.
Yeah, so Alex, could you also just mention that, you know, you're venture funded, right? So like I met Community, which is a great VC that is your investor. Like, do you want to comment on who's invested into you so far and everything about that?
Yeah, happy to. Yeah, we're backed by our main investor is Paige Craig at Outlander VC. They were the first check in AngelList and Airbnb and like 15 other unicorns, a really original gangster VC, that's for sure. And that's followed on by Winklevoss Capital, RELE Capital, which is a multifamily office in Israel, Alumni Ventures, which is a very large kind of multi-stage VC, 10X Capital, and Material V, and a lot of other family offices with fund-to-fund strategies or an interest in democratizing and making private markets more transparent. So yeah, happy to dive into that at any point. But yeah, we are venture backed. This would be our second venture round that we're raising now. I would call it a seed plus.
Okay. How much are you raising now, actually?
We're going into a $3 million raise We'll see. You know, we might go up a little bit beyond that, but three is our firm raise number right now.
Yeah, really cool. Well, again, you know, I just want to applaud you two for coming up with something that's so unique and so novel. You know, which I was surprised by, but I imagine, you know, takes a lot more work, which you two have been putting a lot of years into. Yeah, so it's not so easy to create.
That's why you've seen me grow the beard, Ruby. You see, I'm looking older, right?
All right.
But
Well,
thanks so much everybody for the time, and let us know how we can be helpful always.
yeah, Payam, anything else that you'd like to conclude with?
Yeah, no, thank you guys, Alex, Andrew, you guys are doing phenomenal work. Grateful to have you guys as guests, and looking forward to connecting you all. We're actually probably closer to 80 investors in our network now. So, there's another 50, 60 others that are, we're not able to make this call. So let us talk offline after this and discuss how we can connect you deeper. We're asking everyone to we have our own Telegram and portal channels, and actually we have that investor specific group on our portal where you guys can see exactly who you are. You don't need to like add each other on LinkedIn. So I can happily follow up with all of you on joining that. So it's just an easy directory, and everyone should have their profile there, so you know exactly what kind of investor you are, what your areas of focus are, any other criteria or philosophies that you might want to share in terms of themes. And that would be the easiest way, honestly, to connect and know who you are, and you can message directly within that platform as well. So looking forward to co-creating. Thanks everyone for joining us, and see you soon.
All right.
Awesome.
Bye,
Thanks, guys.
everybody. Thank you so much for your time and joining us. And thank you, Alex. Thank you, Andrew.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.
Let us know when
Bye.
you're in Utah.
Dottie, good to see you. We need to connect, so I will contact you. Okay. Arrange a time that will work for you, Dottie. All right. But it's
Sure,
nice to
Ruby.
see you
Look
almost
forward
in
for it.
person. All right. So, but I'm glad to see
Yeah.
you now, and then we'll do our one-to-one. Okay. Thank you very much.